Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Today, we'll be looking at your eyes. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can see the difference between truth and fiction. Consider this. When we hear the term colorblind, many people picture someone seeing the world in only black, white, and shades of gray, like an old black and white movie. But is that an accurate picture? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is synesthesia. synesthesia. Synesthesia is a fascinating neurological phenomenon where the stimulation of one sensory or cognitive pathway leads to automatic, involuntary experiences in a second sensory or cognitive pathway. Or, to put it more simply, one sense sort of triggers another. For example, a person with synesthesia, called a synesthete, might hear a specific musical note and see a particular color, or they might read a word and experience a specific taste. It's like having your senses cross-wired, creating a richer and more blended experience of the world. The word comes from two ancient Greek roots, syn, meaning together or union, and aesthesis, meaning sensation. So synesthesia literally means joined sensation. It's not a disease or disorder, but rather a unique way of perceiving the world that's experienced by a small percentage of the population. Famous synesthetes include the artists Vasily Kandinsky and musician Pharrell Williams, who have both described how their condition influences their creative work. And a little bonus fun fact for you, there is an artist, Neil Harbisson, who is considered to be the world's first cyborg artist, and he actually was fitted with an antenna that allows him to perceive colors as sound resonating in his skull. If you want to learn more about him, check the links in the show notes. I did another episode of my other podcast, Who Arted, all about Neil Harbisson. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about the human eye. Number 1, your brain, not your eyes, is responsible for flipping your entire world right side up. When light enters your eye, it passes through the lens, which acts like the lens of a camera. The lens focuses the light onto the back of the eye on a light-sensitive layer called the retina. Because the lens is convex, meaning it curves outward, it flips the image upside down and reverses it from left to right. So the retina actually receives a tiny two-dimensional upside-down version of the world you see around you. This upside-down image is then converted into electrical signals that travel along the optic nerve to your brain. It's inside your brain's visual cortex where the real magic happens. This incredibly powerful processing center receives the jumbled upside-down information and in an instant flips it right side up. It also combines the images from both eyes to create depth perception and interprets it into the clear, stable, three-dimensional world you experience every waking moment. Your brain does this so seamlessly, you never even notice it's happening. Number 2, your eyes can distinguish between about 10 million different colors. Our ability to see color comes from specialized cells in our retinas called cone cells. Most humans have 3 types of cone cells, and each type is sensitive to different wavelengths of light: red, green, and blue. Your brain takes the signals from these three types of cones and mixes them together, much like an artist mixing primary paint colors on a palette. And if you're thinking the primary colors aren't red, green, and blue, they're red, yellow, and blue, like you were always taught in school, that's not quite accurate. There are actually different types of primary colors. Red, yellow, and blue are the traditional primary colors that painters used for centuries, but today, science tells us a more accurate color mixing system would be cyan, magenta, and yellow, which are called the subtractive primaries. And our eyes use red, green, and blue, which are the additive primary colors. The same primary colors used when looking at our screens or anything else that's mixing colored light to form the image. But really, that could be a whole other episode in and of itself. Back to our eyes and our perception of color. While we often think in terms of basic colors like red, yellow, and blue, the combination our brains can process is staggering. By detecting subtle variations in the intensity of the signals from each type of cone cell, your visual system can identify around 10 million unique hues and shades. This is why we appreciate the difference between cyan, turquoise, and aquamarine, or the thousands of shades in a vibrant sunset. Some people even have a rare fourth type of cone, allowing them to see an estimated 100 million colors. Number 3. You have a natural blind spot in each eye, but your brain works hard to make it disappear. In the back of your eye, where the optic nerve connects to the retina, there are no light-sensitive cells like rods or cones. This specific location is called the optic disc, and because it can't detect light, it creates a small gap or blind spot in your field of vision for each eye. If you were to close one eye, there's a certain point in your vision where a small object would seem to completely vanish. It's always there, but you've likely never noticed it. So why don't we see two black holes in our field of vision all the time? Well, it all comes down to your brain. Just as your brain works to flip the images you're seeing right side up or combine the sensory data from both eyes to give you that depth perception, it performs another trick called filling in, where it uses the visual information from the surrounding area to make an educated guess about what should be in the blind spot. Also, because our two eyes are in slightly different positions, the blind spot of one eye is covered by the field of vision of the other. Your brain combines the two images, effectively erasing the blind spots from your perception. Number 4. The intricate pattern of your iris is more unique and secure than your fingerprint. While fingerprints have long been the standard for personal identification, iris recognition technology is becoming more common for a reason. A fingerprint has about 40 unique characteristic points that can be used for identification. The iris, which is the colored part of your eye, has an astonishing 256 unique characteristics. These patterns, which include ridges, furrows, and rings, are formed during the first year of life and remain unchanged for the rest of a person's life. This incredible complexity makes the iris pattern a much more reliable and secure form of biometric identification. The beautiful color of your iris is a wonderful example of complex genetics going far beyond the simple dominant and recessive traits we might have learned about in school. While we once thought a single gene was responsible, scientists now know that multiple genes work together to determine the amount and placement of a pigment called melanin in your iris. Eyes with a lot of melanin appear brown as they absorb more light. In contrast, blue eyes have very little melanin, and their color comes from the way light scatters across the iris fibers, a phenomenon similar to what makes the sky blue. Meanwhile, the unique crypts, furrows, and rings that make up the iris patterns are also genetically coded, forming randomly during the development in the womb, which ensures no two irises are exactly alike. The chance of two individuals having the same iris pattern is estimated to be about 1 in 10 to the 78th power. That's a 1 followed by 78 zeros. This is a number so astronomically large that it's virtually impossible for two irises to be identical, not even between identical twins. This is why you'll find iris scanners used in high security settings from airports to government buildings. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: the muscles that move your eyes are the fastest and most active muscles in your entire body. The 6 tiny muscles that surround each of your eyeballs, known as the extraocular muscles, are constantly at work. They're responsible for every flick, dart, and smooth tracking motion your eyes make, allowing you to scan your environment, read a book, or follow a moving object. These muscles can move your eyes in as little as 1/100th of a second. They're so active that some have estimated they move more than 100,000 times a day. The extraocular muscles allow for incredibly fast saccadic movement. That's the rapid, jerky movements your eyes make when they jump from one point of focus to another, like when you're reading a line of text. These muscles are 100 times more powerful than they need to be to simply move the eyeball, ensuring that you can redirect your gaze almost instantaneously. Even when you're sleeping and dreaming during the REM or rapid eye movement stage of sleep, these muscles are hard at work. Now for some news you can use. If you spend a lot of time looking at screens, whether it's a computer or a tablet or your phone, your eyes can get tired and strained. A great way to combat digital eye strain is to use the 20-20-20 rule. It's super simple to remember. For every 20 minutes you spend looking at a screen, you should look at something 20 feet away for a full 20 seconds. This simple exercise works because it relaxes the focusing muscles inside your eyes. When you stare at something up close like a screen, these muscles have to work continuously to maintain focus. Looking at something far away allows these muscles to relax, which can help reduce eye strain, fatigue, and even headaches associated with long periods of screen use. So set a timer or a reminder and give your hardworking eyes a well-deserved break. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if it's true that people who are colorblind see the world in black and white. Well, for the vast majority of people with colorblindness, this is a fallacy. The idea that they see in monochrome, or just one color, is one of the biggest misconceptions about vision. To understand why, let's look at the 2 special types of cells in our retinas, rods and cones. Rods are responsible for vision in low light, and they only see in black, white, and shades of gray. Cones, on the other hand, are what we use for color vision in brighter light. As I said earlier, most people have 3 types of cones, for red, green, and blue. Your brain mixes these signals from the 3 different cone types to perceive the entire rainbow of colors. The most common form of color blindness, or more accurately, color vision deficiency, occurs when one of these 3 types of cone cells doesn't work properly or is missing entirely. For example, in red-green color deficiency, the most common type, a person has trouble telling the difference between shades of red and green. They can still see colors perfectly well, especially blues and yellows, but their color palette is different from someone with typical vision. The world isn't black and white, the colors just look a little different. But there is a kernel of truth to this idea of people being colorblind, if you will. There is a very rare condition called achromatopsia, which is true total color blindness. People with achromatopsia have few or no functioning cone cells, and they must rely entirely on their rods to see. Because rods can't detect color, their world truly is black, white, and shades of gray. The condition is very rare, though, affecting only about 1 in every 30,000 people. So, while a very small number of people do see in monochrome, it's incorrect to assume that everyone who is said to be, quote, colorblind is so limited. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about your eyes with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.